What we're going to do today is go over different topics on future-proofing. If you've been in business any amount of time, you know that the industry is going to change no matter what you do. What you did 20 years ago is not relevant to particularly what you're going to do today. So the topics today are going to be more on the technology side. Who in here has been in business or with the business over 20 years? Been in business? Okay, so one, we got a couple. 20 years ago, we came in there and talked about marketing. You're probably going to spend more 20 years ago on your yellow page ad than you did on your digital marketing presence. Where if the yellow page person comes in to see today, they're going to simply say, well, if you buy this print ad, we'll give you this piece of paper for free. So that's just a simple example of how things are going to be changed in the digital space. Now, us as a company, this is work, right? Yeah. Get closer for me. So we have been in business in Pensacola for around 10 years. We have an office right on Alkines, and we're a digital web company. Our partnership with the FRLA, we work on websites, web accessibility, and different digital marketing campaigns. A lot of what we do is in education. So today is all about education, and we're looking to more so relate to the industry than compare what one business does to the next. So in this presentation, some of it might not directly apply to what you're doing, but that have recently taken place and you will see in the next coming years. So these are some of the brands we work with, just to give you an idea. We are not a single-man operation. If I can get some of my Digi people to kind of raise their hand. We got some in the corner here. So we have about 30 employees. We're not going anywhere tomorrow. So if you need help and you don't have somebody helping you with digital presence, we're right on Alkines can help you. A lot of you, if you have businesses, have somebody to talk to. This is just to educate you on that conversation and provide you with more insight to what things are going to be coming down in the future. And at the end of the day, again, it's about helping each other as an industry going forward. Now I'm going to bring in Jamie. Now Jamie's a product development specialist. He helps build the platform that we currently operate on. We do not use sites like WordPress. Everything we do is on our own platform, on our own dashboards. That development is one of the reasons the FRLA brought us in, is because we develop everything for future state. And we also have different modules that relate not just to one client, but across the industry. So with that being said, if y'all give Jamie a round of attention, remember, we don't clap. There we go.
So one of the things that we've been working with the FRLA since September primarily is talking about ADA compliance. And when a lot of times people think about ADA compliance, and losing my Wi-Fi.
Here, I'll go over there and just sit.
So one of the things that we talk about with ADA compliance is like how things have changed in the last 20 to 25 years. So who here recognizes some of these brands across the screen?
A better question, who here has had a Zima before?
Yeah. So you probably can't get a Zima over there at the bar. The reason why is it's gone away. It's things have changed. With ADA, when the ADA was originally incorporated was it applied to your physical place of business. So, like World of Beer had to install handicap parking, had to make sure their bathrooms were accessible. The doors, were able to get a wheelchair through. But nowadays, the way that e-commerce completely changed. There's no more like John mentioned, there's no more phone books, there's no more like phone booths and things like that where you can call somebody up and like find something. So, you can go to a brick and mortar business and search the aisles and find them. Everybody's like finding products and things on the internet and then going to the stores. So the way that commerce has changed is that since 1990 when the ADA was put in, it was never kind of conceptualized that websites needed to be ADA compliant. And if you think about it for a second, like if you're visually impaired, you've got a disability, you want to go and shop for a product, how do you do that? And so that's kind of like where we kind of come into play in educating the FRLA members about that. So with last year, the federal government was supposed to put in some guidelines that was going to apply the ADA to websites. There's the rules that are going to kind of govern like how the law was going to apply to the internet. Those rules were nixed, basically thrown out. They just kind of put it on the sidelines and said, we're going to kick the can down the road for a little bit more. So the lawsuits that have been taking place and like going through the court system, the courts, when they're being litigated, are looking at like what are the guidelines? What do we look at? Since there's no rules, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. And so what everybody's looking at is called WCAG version 2.0. So these are kind of the guidelines that are kind of guiding ADA compliance as it applies to the internet. This is what we build all of our websites off of, these guidelines and level AA.
If you have a website or a web company, they should understand what that is. It's a rule of guidelines set up by the World Wide Web Consortium. And while it's not written into law, all the lawsuits we get sent every single week reference these guidelines as the standard for web compliance.
And so you may be like sitting there asking well, how does that, what is web accessibility? How does it apply? And basically it means that there's no barriers that prevent a person with disability from having access to your website. And so what the courts have determined in a lot of the cases is there's basically a nexus, a gateway between your physical location. So if you've got a restaurant, you have a website, and so there's a connection. People go to your website looking at your menus, your contact information, to then go and dine at your restaurant. So it creates a public accommodation. So that has to be accessible to a person that's ADA impaired and non-impaired individuals. So simply put, your website must provide access to all users.
Has anybody in here been sued under any kind of ADA law before as an operation or a business? Because I know I talked to several of you. We have some vendors, we have some restaurant people. Has anybody dealt with this on a business level here? Okay, nobody directly. So what we have seen in this industry space, it's very, very simple. There's a screen reader technology that has to be able to use your website. And the screen reader is what is the door into your website. So it's no different than somebody trying to walk in that door. They got to be able to do it. They got to be able to go on your website, and that reader's got to be able to see all the things that are on your website and read it back to them. If it can't do that, simply put, there's the ADA opportunity for a lawsuit to happen under Title III.
And just to kind of follow what John said, I mean, that's how when we take on our customers, especially on the restaurant side, we code out those websites, especially like the menu, the contact, hours of operation, making sure all of that information is accessible to individuals with disability. So why is this important? Well, what you see on the screen here is the headlines from a lot of like big companies that are being sued for ADA compliance. We've got Burger King. This was just recently in January 2018. Nike, a woman sued 30 websites in New York State. And then obviously, who here shops at Winn-Dixie? So, Winn-Dixie, most of these lawsuits will settle out of court. Winn-Dixie was actually the first corporation to fight a lawsuit and actually went to court. And the judgment against Winn-Dixie was they basically had to spend about $300,000 to rehab their website. They have to go through audits every 3 months. And they also had to make sure that all their third-party vendors that they were using on their website were ADA compliant as well. The judge determined that there was a nexus between like the physical website, looking at like what the specials are, what's on sale, and then going into that the establishment to purchase groceries. So one of the things that we hear a lot is like, you know what, this is not real. You guys are kind of making this up. And so this is actual like copy of a real web lawsuit that we've actually received from a client that was actually being sued. You kind of read the fine print. This disabled individual has been denied full and equal access to this website. She's not providing services that are provided to other patrons who are not disabled. So we've got several copies of these. Take a look at them. This is one for a surf shop in South Florida. So this is actually a real issue.
I'll say this in the wide scope that we work with, and just to give you an idea, we work with FRLA. We actually are also working with the National Restaurant Association on this issue. We have seen a small yogurt shop get sued that does $200,000 a year revenue. We have seen enterprise businesses like Jamie just mentioned get sued under this law. So we bring it up because the topic that y'all just saw, those are big brands. I mean, Nike, Winn-Dixie, Burger King. That's the big media side of things. They're the local mom and pops. When they're getting these lawsuits, the lawsuits are stating that the person using it needs accessibility. That's what they're asking for in the lawsuit. What they're getting hit with and where it can hurt the really small business is the attorney fees. The attorney fees are required at sometimes between $4,600 up to $15,000 that the small business, if they decide to settle out of court, let's say they do fix the website, you still got to pay the other person's attorney fees. So I say that to say is nobody's immune to this because of size or scope. It's a little bit bigger, a bigger target that these attorneys are taking advantage of. This is kind of a breakdown that what we've seen is industry-wise is going to hit the hardest. Now keep in mind this is from August to last year. We just got a new one of these brought to us from the law firm that we typically reference on this, and we're seeing a larger space. The retails and the restaurant and the hospitality are getting hit the hardest because it's a customer-facing, it's a lot of interaction, B2C. So that B2C interaction is where we're getting a lot of this feedback from. B2B, not so much applicable, but again, here we are. Just like I said, somebody's got to be able to walk through the door, they got to be able to go on the website and have the same kind of ability that somebody with or without a disability can use it.
So, we're going to pick on a couple of restaurants over in Mobile today. So this is a website, this is a scan that we can run, and this is just a very top level, just to kind of identify any sort of issues going on within a website. And you'll see this one's got about 20 errors there, 24 alerts. So this is like what we look for. And we've seen we've got about 2-3 months ago, we got a client somebody reached out to us, and we ran their website through the scan, and they got sued just because they had one error. And so this is a really ongoing issue. So, what's the case for accessibility? I mean, why should you worry about having your website be web accessible? Well, first and foremost, it's the law. I mean, ADA compliance is the law of the land. You know, there's a financial benefit. If you look at like 1 in 5 people have a disability, U.S. Department of Labor says that the disability market is the 3rd largest market in the United States. So having your website be more accessible opens it up, gives more access to people to a larger market. The social benefit, you know, it's the right thing to do. Just providing access. The internet was supposed to be the great equalizer. We need to make sure we're not leaving anybody behind. And then the technical benefit, there's an improved search engine optimization, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit in a couple more slides. So basically just kind of like reviewing what your options are. If you've got an existing website, and here's what you can do. You can hire a programmer to go out, fix, maintain your website. And you know, one of the things that you've got to look for is that even though if you get your website like, you know, completely redone, any updates that you do to that website down the line, we come in a lot of restaurants that have like bar keeps, so they'll hire somebody to maintain their website. You've got to make sure that person that's maintaining the website is keeping you within those ADA guidelines as well. So you're looking at about $45, per page to get that done. One of the things that we partnered up with the FRLA on, and since September, is that we've actually got a plugin we can provide to businesses that they can plug into their existing website. It'll create basically an accessible version of their existing website and run side by side. So you don't have to go through the process of like rebuilding and maintaining, that your current website. The DigiPro site does it. And then we also have our DigiPro platform. This is the one that you'll find like Seville, Flyers is being built on it, and then all these other properties with graffiti. So this is a full accessible version platform. So at this point, like, does anybody need to get a beer?
Yeah, Mike, you got it?
We tried.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah. And hey, we hate to make that topic is not a fun topic to talk about because you're talking about small businesses and businesses are getting sued. But the education piece of it, you need to be aware of it. You need to start having a conversation now because the preventative measure is a lot cheaper than the fact that after a lawsuit has been served. So if you go back to the business you work for, the entities you're working for, just bring up the topic, just ask if it's been talked about or associated with in the website properties that you currently your business operate in. Because again, it's not a fun topic, but it's a topic going forward that you're going to hear more and more about. So there's going to be some other applications that Jamie's going to run through about why that matters though, because that WCAG 2.0, the way you build your website structure has a lot to do with how your website's going to operate on the internet and how you're going to be able to gain search rankings, gain ability over another competitor in the market. So go ahead and start talking about that.
So the next section of it, we're talking about search engine optimization and how that connects with web accessibility and the guidelines of that. So the National Restaurant Association did a survey a couple years ago. 83% of Americans looked up dining locations, directions, and hours of operation on their smartphones and tablets. So that's a huge market. 40% of mobile searches have local intent, and 88% of consumers who search for a type of local business go to that business within 24 hours. So basically what it's saying is they're searching for you, and once they find you, they're going to go and visit your location within a recent day.
Yeah. It's important. I mean, I think it's something to take into consideration of what they're actually looking for on the internet. And so you see here, they didn't look for taco agave, they looked for tequila bars near me. And so that application right there, you have to have a geofence of where you actually located to make sure the citation sites are looking at you properly. Secondly, you need to make sure your keywords and what you actually are relates to the person that's actually trying to find you. The old Yellow Book saying is, you would open the Yellow Pages and you have one hand in the Yellow Pages, one hand on your wallet, because the only time you use that when you're looking to buy something. Mobile search is the exact same way. So if we wanted to go find a steakhouse in downtown Pensacola, y'all can probably think off the top of your head who's going to come up. I'm looking for a search. That could be a $200 to $500 potential sale. My next call is going to be to find the actual make the call to make the reservation. So that's top of mind awareness, and it's a buyer conversation. It's not somebody doing research necessarily. They're looking to make a purchase, or have an engagement on that element. So some of the elements that Jamie mentioned, the search engines are completely blind. They have no way to interpret what may be on your website. The text that you currently have inside your website and the way you define things is the way the search engines actually view you. It's a form of AI. They're taking everything they can find in your website and trying to push a decision back to your screen that relates to what you're searching for. And that algorithm is constantly changing to better the search environment that you're all about to have.
So the first thing is the page titles. If you remember, I had the picture of the scan up there, and if you saw a big red dot up there at the top of the page, that is the page title. So that's one of the first things that the crawlers look for. But also, if you're visually impaired, if you're using a screen reader, and you're trying to find what this business is all about, what do they do? That's the first thing that it reads. We see that more and more and over on a lot of the websites that we scan. A lot of times it's like a WordPress website. They're missing that page type. The other thing is that your content is structured in a reader-friendly way. And the thing about web accessibility is that if that person is coming to a website and they've got a screen reader and it's reading off that technology, you want to make sure that the most relevant content is the first thing that is read. Alt text on images. Back to the search engines, they're blind. Search engines don't see video, images, and things like that. What they see are rich text descriptions. So if you've got a picture of a really great dish that you've just done, and you've uploaded it to your website, put a really good description on what that is. If you're selling a product, put a good description on that. The search engines, it'll help out and also help out with the accessibility issues. Link descriptions are more meaningful. So one of the things that we see a lot of times on websites is if you've got an article that's on your website or it's linked to another page, it just says read more, learn more. Well, that doesn't tell the crawlers and that doesn't tell the person with that screen reader what that page that they're about to go to is all about. So if you just hear read more, it could be 3 read more links on that page. Well, what is it? Where am I going? And then provide the most important information first. And this is actually really important. one of the biggest things that, like John said, is contact information. Make sure like your contact information, your hours of operation, that's one of the most important things. How can people reach you? If I'm a visually impaired person, I can't read your menu. How can I call to find out the place to order? So one of the other things that is coming in the pipeline, again, future-proofing your business. So it's the rise of voice search. How many here have used like Siri or uses like Alexa or Google Home? So I can't personally use those. I mean, it just doesn't like it. My Siri just doesn't like a southern drawl. It doesn't speak redneck. Yeah, it doesn't speak redneck. So, but like here's some really good statistics to kind of like start thinking about, start planning ahead. There are over 1 billion voice searches per month. 1 in 5 online adults had a voice search on their mobile phone last month. 50% of all searches will use voice by 2020. And then by 2020, 30% of all searches will not use a screen. So they'll be done on your Alexas, the Google Home, probably the refrigerator, talking to Russell, kitchen equipment that's going to have AI in it, things like that. Everything is going to be coming. So what does that mean? It's the Internet of Things is coming. So as a business, you have to kind of be prepared for that and be ready to kind of adapt. You don't want to be like a Toys R Us and, be something big in the 90s and then 25 years later you're out of business because you take the Amazon. So how can you be prepared? The first thing that you can do is make sure that you claim all of your listings on the web. So when you're tequila bars near me or restaurants near me and you're downtown Pensacola, what the Google Home and Siri does is it goes out and searches Google and starts pulling in all that content. So you've got your menus and your hours of operation listed on all these different platforms. It's looking at all that stuff. And we come across a lot of websites, a lot of businesses that don't update their information. Just respond to your reviews. Make sure that if somebody puts a bad review on there, you just don't let it go. You got to turn that one, reach out to that person, make them, don't let it linger. Make sure your menu is accessible. One of the biggest things that we see for restaurants is that if you've got a menu, a lot of them are putting up as an image, or they're using a PDF. Crawlers can't read that stuff. Screen reader technology for the impaired can't read image menus as images. Avoid using industry jargon and keep your hours of operation current. We see this a lot. You go in from the winter and spring months and you get into your summer time frame, not updating your hours of operation. Because somebody does a search and it says that you close at 8, but now you're into June and you're closing at midnight or 10 p.m. That makes a difference in whether people are visiting your business. And then your contact information.
So I'll take a quick minute and talk about a little bit of what a local citation is, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. So here, I'm going to show you. These are citations of your business that point back into one database. The more accurate your citations are, the more accurate your listings are. So this is a scan where we went in there and we scanned a company in Mobile. We put in their name, their address, and their phone number as the business owner feels it should be listed on the internet. So when we ran this scan, we've got almost a 40% listing inaccuracy. And how does that happen? An inaccuracy happens where you may move, you might have bought somebody else's business and redid the name, you maybe changed your phone number. All of that case, if all the different internet citation sites are all saying the same thing, you get a higher ranking on the map pack. Does anybody even know what the map pack is in Google? Alright, let's talk about it. Take your phone and you talk about, find me a restaurant in Pensacola. There's going to be a map listing that's going to come up and it's going to show you 4 to 6 locations in that general area. Is everybody on the same page? We're tracking. Okay, in those listings, you're going to see reviews of that 4 to 6 listings that Google then told you, or Google Maps told you, or Yelp told you is something that you're looking for. We're still tracking. Got a lot of head nods. Okay, good. If your reviews are not being reviewed properly, meaning you're not responding to bad reviews and you're not promoting the good ones, we have a social proof problem. Social proof is, we're all inside a worldview right now. If we all, as humans, get on our phones and say this was a horrible experience, would that deter another person from coming here?
Yes.
Okay, that's the social proof. Flip that. If we all right now get on our phones and we review on multiple platforms, you could be on Yelp, you could be on Google, you could be on Yahoo, doesn't matter. If our reviews are positive, our social proof is a positive. Other people are going to see that. The more of those you gain, the more social proof you're getting. It all goes back to you must claim these listings, and there's hundreds of citation sites that you can use from to do this. And for a business owner, it can be a little cumbersome, but every platform has the ability for you to claim a listing and manage your listing. So this report, I can actually do it on my phone. So I just did a report. Is everybody familiar with the Arrow Salon down here downtown? So I just did Arrow Salon. Apparently, so they've got a 69% inaccuracy listing. And just by going through my details, I can look at every local citation site and tell you exactly what's wrong with it. What they did is it looks like it used to be called London W1 Hair Salon. Does anybody remember that business name? So, that was a previous business at the same location. For all we know, those reviews could be bad. The new business that's there in the location now is going to gain that social proof. So by not claiming these listings, you're kind of leaving yourself out there that as this voice search gets more and more popular, it's kind of going to be whatever the person before you had. If you change telecom vendors, who here has switched from an AT&T to a Cox business service line in the past, or vice versa? You change your numbers and they don't port it over. Your old phone number is going to show up. Over time, phone companies and CLECs will sell an old business number. If that old business number is and let me give you one. PointCom. Anybody heard of PointCom? Right. It's a local citation site. Doesn't necessarily mean it's getting a lot of traffic, but those citations have a value in the way your overall ranking. And you're going to be gaining and getting a positive influence on that citation, or you're going to get a negative. So these reviews on these citation sites have a lot of value as an overall business perspective. And I'll use WorldBeer again. This business must maintain its integrity for a good place to come have beer. And if they continue to do that, the reviews stay high. If you start seeing a drop-off in those reviews, for whatever reason it might be, you will start seeing a change in their day-to-day business because, again, if I visit here, say I'm military, I'm downtown, I just searched bar in downtown Pensacola, they're going to see every other bar down the street, and they're going to make a decision based on the listing, the location, and the social proof. Everybody nod if you're still with me. Yeah. All right, we're tying it all together. So these three things here are showing you your listing, the listing comparable to competitors in your market, and then you have a schema tag. I am not about to get into what schemas are on your website and how that has changed, but if you are looking for some major competition, how do I say it, bonus points over your competition, come talk to me. We'll talk about web schema and how that works. All right. We'll let you take that.
Yeah. Good job. All right, so Facebook. Who here has a Facebook page? Everybody. Who here still uses it after the recent Cambridge Analytica? Okay, so poor Mark Zuckerberg's been kind of getting me through on the last couple of days, so it's a good opportunity to kind of talk about this because we get a lot of questions from people that we're meeting. You know, we talk to a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses, and they say, I just got my Facebook page. I'm going to promote my business on the Facebook page. I'm just going to use my Facebook page as my website. Well, recently, Facebook did a complete overhaul of their algorithm. They kind of went back to what they originally wanted Facebook to be. How does that play with your business? And this is kind of a quote from a very good article in Wired magazine in February, where what this algorithm means for business owners. So post and videos stored in images look alike, but not comment on are going to be deprioritized. So basically, if you're just putting like clickbait type articles up on posts on Facebook, you're going to start like not seeing very good engagement on that. So like 2 months from now, if you're sitting there and you're posting to Facebook and you start seeing your numbers and your engagement start diving, this is the primary reason why. Because they're looking for posts that actually create measures of well-being, They favor genuine engagement, human connection of product to business. And what that means is like, Facebook wants to be a community. They want to, like, they say they want to be a community, but it's like, they want to create general conversation. So, some other things that you can do to kind of counteract that is like use Facebook Live to create like free organic engagement. That's a really good way to like have information to go viral, get people to start liking and start creating a conversation about what you're doing. Try and tell a 1-minute video about like what you were doing in the store. One of the other things that we talk about is we get all done with things about social media and your website. So one of the things I always like to tell clients is like, so your social media accounts are like rented land. They're like leased land. You don't own that information. So these are great places to promote your brand. It's a great place to like have permanent information about your business. The only downside is you have to conform to their terms and services. So if you're always having to like, you can't make any changes to that Facebook page other than uploading a profile page and a cover page. The other thing is that Facebook gives and Facebook takes it away. So one thing that's really popular, that's working for them right now and maybe working for your business, 6 months down the line, 2 years down the line, they may take that away. And it's not available to you. The other thing about your website is the website, instead of a place to really kind of promote your brand, it's a way to like really build your brand and then use your social media accounts to promote what you are doing, promote your products, your services, your menu. The other thing is you have complete control of the design and content. It's the best way to present robust information about your business. You can only present like really good snippets on Instagram and Facebook and things. So you can present like the whole scope of what you're doing in your business on your website.
I'll ask a question. Which restaurant in Pensacola do y'all think has the strongest brand presence? What do you think?
The World's Here Taco Agave.
Yeah.
Because they kill it for social media.
Okay.
Actually like it.
Okay. Anybody else?
McGuire's.
Dwyer's? Anybody else?
Fish House.
Fish House? Okay, these are deep brands. They have a story when they started. They have a background. They typically have some kind of events that are wrapped around them. That's what Jamie's really trying to drive home, is that website should house all of that brand information to build the culture of the type of client they want to have and then continuing success for years to come. You can't do that on social media because it's a quick snippet of your business and then they're gone. So if you have a social media strategy that starts with your website content first and you drive that deeper and deeper and deeper, you get a brand connection. You can buy a piece of fish anywhere here in Pensacola. You're going to go somewhere typically for an experience, especially if you have a vacation type industry. So that's where the website needs to house that story and house that brand. You're just using social media to drive the traffic there and get them engaged on certain snippets of your business. I think Jamie made a great point that Facebook give it and take it away. If you have some people, we've heard it. We went to the FRLA show and some people said, I don't even have a website. I just use my Facebook page. So what happens when Facebook changes the policy that says you're not allowed to post pictures of food anymore? What happens if Facebook says, hey, we're gonna change the engagement that you're only gonna be able to engage with your likes if you pay for that promotion? They can change the whole platform and you just invested 100% of your brand equity into a company that you have no control over. Really think about that as your online address, your online presence starts with your domain. It's no different than a physical space like we're sitting here today. Your physical space on the internet is your domain, and that's where you house that story. That's where you house your information.
Yeah, and we have a really good example. Can you go back? Yeah. So the other thing is that it's really good on your website. If somebody gives you information on your website, you own that information. Like, you don't own the likes and everything like that on your Facebook. You can't take all that customer information with you. So this information right here is an asset. It's an asset for your business. All those email addresses, that customer information is generated. And I'll use a good example. Right now we're doing a campaign for Casino Beach. there is a contest running for the best bar in Florida. We're running their kind of entire digital thing, their digital campaign for that. So we're using their website, launching ads from their website to their social media to get people to vote them as the best bar in Florida. So last week they started off in like 15th place. We started running the campaign. We got ads running. Well, I'm not gonna like poo through Facebook. They're really good at what they're doing. You know, you use them in conjunction. So that whole campaign where we like are using the website as the launching point for Facebook, and then we're using all the emails that we've gathered from that website. So we have 10,000 emails that we've gathered over the years, plugging them into Facebook. So now we're using the likes on the Facebook and the emails that we gathered from the website. We're running two separate campaigns, and then we take those emails and we launch out an email marketing campaign. So after doing that for a week, they were 15 when we started this. They're updating it every week. So now they're at number 7. And so now we're competing. They're the top panhandle bar on that list. We're competing with bars in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, big metropolitan areas. So we're using all this information. We're like using the website in conjunction with social media and email marketing to drive that traffic. So
if you want to help, go vote on the top one.
So what can you do? Focus on genuine engagement. Make sure that your content is relevant. When possible, use your website as a launching point for your social media strategy. Again, using that casino beach kind of strategy. Invest as much time and energy in building your brand on your website and promoting on Facebook. Back to what John said, one of the things that we hear a lot of times is I spend all my time doing my Facebook, social media accounts, and then 2-3 years down the line, I haven't done any type of upgrades on the website. So they're losing all of that kind of like momentum, that mojo that builds behind on the SEO side. So the final thing that we're going to talk about is SSL, Secure Socket Layer. Who knows what an SSL is?
Who has SSL on their website right now? Everybody hit the bartender now. Good job. Yeah, that's a big deal.
So the reason why this is actually a really big deal is that if there's one thing that you do when you leave this is you go back and look at your website and see if you've got an SSL on your website. A lot of people are familiar with SSLs that they're on like anything that involves payment. So e-commerce, shopping carts, and things like that. You'll see the lock up there in the browser that will signify whether there's security on this website. And so what Google is saying is that in 2018, starting in July, we want every website to have an SSL. And if you do not have an SSL, we are going to start penalizing you. Just to kind of recap, so SSL prevents information theft and makes the web more secure. Google wants a secure web. It doesn't matter if you're accepting payments or not. They just want your website to be presentable as it's secure. So they have started to flag all websites that do not have an SSL, and websites without an SSL will be marked as not secure.
My client last week didn't have one. I had Google crawl their site. They were on front page number 3 consistently, and then on Friday they were page 13. Huge drop. So they're already doing it, and this is the client invested.
Yeah. So Google will start favoring sites with security. So by July, if your website does not have an SSL, this is what people will see when they come to your website. They will see that not secure your connection, and then it will be on just about every website that does not have an SSL. So if there's one thing that you do, we provide you with a lot of information. So here's a checklist on some of the topics that we discussed. So just take a picture, write down the notes on what you can do for this year to make sure that you stay on par with like the trends. We all agree that accessibility is like a really big issue. It's all about equal access. So make sure your website is accessible. Claim all of your web listings. John went through like a really good description of why it's bad. So, there's a lot out there. Monitor and respond to reviews. Don't let them linger. promote your brand on your social media with genuine, relevant content that actually connects your business to, like, something that's like conversational, that will get people to interact and share and comment, not just like it and just click on it. Invest in your biggest digital asset by building your brand on your website. Remember, your website is your brand. So, like, if you're a successful restaurant, somebody comes and offers, decides to give you a bunch of money to buy you out, your website is an asset. That adds value to your entire business. So, and finally, secure your website with SSL to avoid being flagged as unsecure. So at this point, we're done. We can start drinking or we can answer some questions.
So where it goes from here is, again, this is all future-proofing stuff. It's stuff that's happening today. Longer time goes on, this stuff becomes more and more prevalent, and I guarantee you, in 6 months, we're going to have another talk because there's going to be more stuff we're going to have to keep adjusting. We're going to hang out around here. I've got several, so you got Jeff in the back. Jeff, raise your hand. He's got his business card. If you have any questions for him, specifically, some of our team's going to be hanging out. But what I would ask everybody is, this would be the screen to take a picture of. If you have a digital marketing company or an agency that's helping you with this, these are topics to go back and bring it up. Several of them around the area have done a great job and are on top of this. And at the end of the day, this is education. Gives you something to go back and have a conversation about. We hope you all had a great time. If you're leaving now, thank you for coming. If you're going to stay, have a